Nice people, nice people, nice people. It's official. I realize I have an issue with nice people. For some reason, most of the time I get stabbed by someone. It's always somebody that was initially, when I met them, I felt like they were nice. Or every time I notice someone who play nice, and then I'm watching them talking about other people, like they literally were just talking to that person and they were being nice to the person. As soon as the person left, I hear them saying something mean about that same person they were being nice to, and I'm like, nope. Something is definitely, like, I am literally triggered now. If initially when I meet someone they act like super nice, I'm like, what are you up to? Because my experience with people that I initially met and thought they were nice has never been a good one. Never. Most of the time the people that I meet that look like they appear to be mean and everything, and then I get to know them and I'm like, oh, they're actually really nice. But the ones that pretend to be nice, yeah, they turn out to be not so nice. I'll give you a little story. Years ago, I was in college and I went to do my internship in Minnesota. So I was working at an Indian reservation. And there was this Filipino girl there. For the purpose of this video, I'm not going to say her name. And when I say this girl, when I met her, when I say she appeared to be nice, she appeared to be nice with everybody, no exception, with everybody. She just knew, like, she's always buying gifts for the locals. She's always like, whenever she goes to town, anything you want, you ask her. She would bring stuff and always trying to be nice to people. But I noticed she was always bragging about how, back in the Philippines, her parents had money and blah, blah, blah. But for some reason, she ended up manipulating one of the Indian guys there to marry her. And she would always play nice to him, buy him gifts, doing stuff for him. And he was a drug addict too. So I was like, girl, please. So the way you're talking about how you have money back home and all these things, like, why do you feel like you have to trick some guy to get a green card? Because basically, and she, bear in mind, she had 2 kids back home. And I'm like, as a mom, you have 2 daughters growing up. So you don't want to go back to be with your daughters. Like, you want to marry some guy so you can stay in the United States. But at the same time, you're bragging about how much, you have a great life back home and everything was great. So from there, I knew she was a liar. And if that wasn't enough, like, she would try to play nice with me whenever I was working. And if she was going to town, she'd be like, oh, I'm going to town. Do you want me to bring you Starbucks or some? I'm like, the answer is always no. For some reason, even though she was playing nice, I always had a weird vibe about this girl. So anyway, come to find out, behind the scene, she was making my life a living hell. Every manager that was working at the property, she would tell them, oh, I'm not good at my job. I'm just horrible. Because we used to work at a deli together. And then the guy that she was trying to manipulate to marry had a cousin working at the same place. God rest his soul, because he died a little bit after I left. He got stabbed. That's another story in itself. He got stabbed by a drug dealer because they were taking a lot of drugs on this reservation. So she literally, because poor Chad, poor Norman, he was a little, cuckoo in the head. Whenever I would be working at the deli and it was just me and Norman, like, the vibe would be great, no issues, we work together and everything is great. But whenever this girl was on the schedule, there would be an issue. And she would always be like egging him on to say stuff or to do stuff, like, just to try and make my life miserable. So anyway, one day, the last straw for me, I was working And my boyfriend at the time lived in Washington, D.C. So he would call me sometimes. And that one day he happened to call me because we were working at a reservation. We all stayed at the hotel. And he called me. So they transferred the call at my job because the girl at the front desk knew I was working at the deli. So I took the call and I'm talking to him. Maybe like a minute into the conversation, I was like, hello, hello. I couldn't hear anything. And then when I turned around, I realized Norman, he hanged up the phone. And I was like, hey, why would you do that? That's rude. I'm talking to someone. Like, why did you hang up the phone? And it was me. And I had a friend of mine from Jamaica there with me. And it was the girl from Philippines and Norman. The four of us were working that day. And he was like, oh, you know what? As a matter of fact, you need to go home because it's four of us here. There is no work. Nobody's coming to buy. So you need to go home. I'm like, what the hell? Like, who do you think you are? Like, you're not my boss. You're not a supervisor. Like, we're all four of us are working. Like, who gave you the right to say that? And he's like, yeah. You know, their go-to was always, oh, my uncle is the chief in the reservation. They always come up with some crap whenever they try to bust you around. And I wasn't going to put up with it. So anyway, I just said, you know what? As a matter of fact, you're right. I went home. I slept for the whole time on the clock. Didn't clock out, nothing. I just went home. I made sure I called the supervisor. Not the supervisor. I called the manager. A nice guy. So I called him. I was like, hey, I'm just letting you know I was at work. This is what happened, you know, between me and Norman. And, you know, these guys, they're being very disrespectful. I you know, you need to talk to them. And he was like, Jasmine, don't worry. I'll take care of it. So I just went in my room. I slept the whole time. Later on during the day, I had to go work in the dining room. So I ended up going to work. And then later on, my Jamaican friend called me and she's like, Jasmine, you didn't realize, like, the Filipino girl was the one in the back pushing him, telling him, you know, to say things to you. She was the one who told him to hang up the phone and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, fine. And not even a day later, this girl, Kim, in front of the deli, I was working, and she's like, oh, Jasmine, I'm going to town. Do you want me to bring you some, you know, Starbucks? Is there anything you need? I'm like, girl, I don't need anything. So at this point, I'm like, this girl is trying to poison me or something. Like, who does things like that? Who is playing nice in your face? And you know, behind the scene, this person, I mean, I would say literally hates me. I don't know the girl from a can of paint, never did anything to her. I was like, fine. I was like, okay, maybe she has an issue with me. Because, you know, sometimes you meet people and your energy and theirs don't match and it's a whole thing. And I'm like, fine with that. But there was another Filipino girl there. Nice girl. You know, everybody liked her. She was funny and everything. And she ended up having like a patch in the back of her hair. Like, no hair was growing. So she was really concerned. And that girl that was pretending to be nice was like, okay, I'll go to the doctor with you. So she ended up going to the doctor. And they gave her some medication or whatever. Do you know what she said? While she was pretending to support the girl and go to the clinic with the girl, behind the girl's back, she was saying, I hope this girl has cancer. And I'm like, if there was anything else I needed to know, it was there. And I was like, thank you very much. Never again will I be, you know, opening up myself to people that, you know, when I meet them initially appear to be nice. Because this girl, she was the devil. And as I'm speaking now, I think now she's on her third marriage. She just have this thing. She knows how to manipulate people. Like, I literally will see her posting on Facebook. She's, I think, on her third marriage now. And I'm like, girl, if you don't go and atone for all your sins, your life is never going to get better. But I'm like, from there, I have been triggered. Anybody that appeared to be nice, I'm looking at you sideways. It's like, what do you want? What do you have up your sleeve? Because I don't have good experience with people that appear to be nice initially. They always turn out to be the worst ever.